Previous videos discussed how God created men and women to be equal in Genesis 1, but created them differently in Genesis 2. So, why would equal versions of mankind, the male and the female, be formed or made differently? Well, the bottom line up front is that God designates the man to lead the family. Now, I know that's a big jump going from how men and women are made or how God created the man and the woman to God has placed the man as leader of the family. Stick with me through the rest of this video and you'll find out why. Um, so we're going to start with Genesis 2, verses 7 through 20. And in those passages, God forms man from the dust of this earth and then places him in a stewardship position over a garden that he created. And then we know in Genesis 2, verses 18 and 20, that God made the woman to help the man in those stewardship tasks. Now, the garden is a representation of anything that God creates and then places in your care with the expectation that you will produce fruit. Um, and since He created everything in this world, basically anything that's in your care is God's garden. And if we think about it in this term, our time in this world is limited. Uh, it is, we're only here for a finite amount of time, and everything that we touch and see is not eternal, except for other image bearers. Okay, so uh, what does this mean? Well, it means that our relationships with other image bearers is what God is what matters the most to God. And we see this when Jesus in Matthew 22, verses 38 to 40, when he says that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and to love others as yourself, right? But the stuff in this world, um, these things are temporary. When it comes to relationships, the primary relationship for image bearers seen around the world is the family unit: husband, wife, children. The family is a garden created by God because none of the image bearers in the family would exist without God forming their bodies and breathing life into them. None of the family members actually owns their own bodies. And proof of this is that God can cause our bodies to die at any moment. He alone determines how long we live in this world. Another concept that we don't often talk about in families is that uh, parents, the children are temporarily placed in our care. They're not really our children. They're really God's children. God puts them in our care as parents to care for, nurture, and help them grow into independent adults who will someday produce fruit on their own. But they're not really ours. Um, so, when it comes to the family, God designates the man as the steward of the family. He puts the man in charge of the family. But that doesn't mean that the woman or the wife is any less capable than the man or any less talented than the man. In any organization where we see men and women working together, we see examples of very talented and very capable women. So in a marriage, in a couple, it would be foolish for a couple not to utilize the talents that the man has and the woman has in ensuring the family's success. Um, Plus, God will hold wives accountable for failing to use the talents that He gave them in ensuring their family's success. But the creation story of Genesis 2 is quite clear. God designated the man to steward the garden or the family, and the woman to help in that stewardship. So, what is stewardship? Well, it's essentially uh, being in charge of something that you don't own, taking care of someone else's stuff. Okay. Um, Stewards lead others on behalf of the owner. Okay. Now, here's what leadership is. Leaders establish, uh, leaders set the tone and establish culture. Okay. And culture is the predominant driver of success or failure of an organization. Good culture is seen in this way. That everyone in the organization plays a vital role in ensuring the organization's success. Right? Good leaders use the talents of everyone in the culture. Everyone feels, and knows that they're a valuable member of the team. Okay, so this speaks to the goal of the Discipled Warriors ministry, which is to educate and encourage men to be the leaders that God created them to be, the leaders of their homes, leaders of their families, leaders of their communities. Now, my name is Ray Dillman, and I steward the Discipled Warriors ministry. It's not mine, it is God's. He put me here and said, produce fruit. Um, and these videos are my attempt at producing fruit. So if you've made it this far, go ahead and click the like button. Apparently, this helps the algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. I'm just beginning to understand how to produce these videos better, and I'll make a whole bunch more moving forward. I'd love for you to leave a comment. I would love to read them, and I will certainly reply to them. If you want to read more material like this in depth, order a copy of the Disciple Warriors Handbook. You can get it at most major retailers. Um, it is a soup to nuts guide on how to be a discipled warrior. Okay, so before we sign off, I've got a question for you. What garden or gardens has God placed in your care? We need to know what we're responsible for. And on that note, be the man that God created you to be. God bless.